Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Star Wars Minute. It's your daily show in which we analyze, we scrutinize, and we celebrate Solo, a Star Wars story 1 minute at a time. I'm Alex Robinson from alexrobinson.fun.
I'm Pete the Retailer from PeteTheRetailer.com.
I'm featuring Patrick Cotnoir from @PatrickCotnoir on Twitter.
But also Connor Ratliff from @ConnorRatliff on Twitter.
Has anyone ever had a "but also" credit in a program? That's a really fun idea.
I'm gonna very funny.
Yeah,
I'm gonna insist on that eventually. That's the billing that I'm gonna strive for.
I like
and
it.
yet with blank.
Unfortunately, also
Right. Somehow, Pete the Retailer.
returned.
Well, we are talking about minute 39 of Solo, a Star Wars story. Solo, minute 39 starts off with Chewbacca attempting to uncouple the Coaxium conveyor car, and it ends a minute later with Han Solo piloting the hauler away from the Coaxium, imploding a mountain to hell.
Now, of course, we have to point out that Coaxium doesn't know. It's incredibly safe. You know, statistically, Coaxium
When
is
used
super safe
as instructed by
Right.
registered Coaxium agents and engineers, perfectly harmless.
perfectly safe.
Mm-hmm. Coaxium.
But this is where I had
this is a very pro Coaxium podcast.
Of course, yeah.
No,
I mean,
well,
why wouldn't we
we're
be?
fair. We're fair. We're
think we
not
gotta
pro
make that clear.
Coaxium. We're
Yeah.
fair. Yeah.
Okay, well then I guess 1/4 of this podcast is very pro Coaxium because speak for yourself, boys.
Fair enough.
This is where my question came in about, did Chewie do it or did it just break off?
Yes.
And, you
Now
know,
I'm going frame by frame. It's very unclear.
he kind of whacks at it, and then it's just like, it's separate.
It's
Yeah.
weird. Either way, it's weird because you think if he did do it, you think it would have been like, ta-da, oh my gosh, he did it, like a big reveal. Or you think he would have been like, oh my gosh, he didn't do it. Now what's going to happen? It's just kind of like happens so quickly that you don't even get a chance to register exactly what's going on.
I think that makes it realistic.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It definitely makes it more.
It's one of those things where it's like, we don't know. It happened so fast.
Yeah.
Mhm.
In life, you often don't have time to process to have your like ta-da or like, oh, that was a lucky break. It just happens.
Right.
Like, I don't know if it was me or if it just happened, but
So do you think Chewbacca, did he clarify once they got back? Did he be like, dude, I didn't even get a chance to pull it out?
Why would
Or
he?
was he just like,
Right.
when Chewie doesn't want to answer a question,
Is that what
when
it
he,
is?
when he doesn't want to answer a question, he just does random grunts and just, Han just doesn't understand what he's saying.
Right.
I don't know.
Whatever.
I do like the idea that most of the time Chewbacca's just saying, I don't know.
So this is the scene where we definitely get the train plummeting over the edge.
Mm-hmm.
And,
and
I
you
love
it. And you are here for it.
I love this. I do wish we had kind of had it from a slightly different angle where you really would have seen
certain
like a
point of
far
view.
away. I wish we had a different certain point of view where, because I'm thinking of the shot in the great silent comedy The General by Buster Keaton,
Sure.
where the train famously goes off a bridge, and it's, a very far shot, very clear that this is really a train going off a bridge. And so I kind of wish there'd been a little bit more of it, but still love the concept of it. And it was always exciting to see something like that happening not in real life. I want to make that clear in case
Have
some
you ever
natural
seen it happen?
disaster
Not in
happened
real life.
Yeah.
that I
No.
I once watched a blimp crash in real life, but
Humanity.
onto the ground
ticket.
or into a building, or what happened? You can't just drop that there and walk away, not expect us to have questions.
I watched it the whole way home because it was like a disabled blimp.
You were on the blimp on the time.
Yeah, I watched it this close. No, I was on my way home from the mall, and I was like, "What's up with that blimp?" And it was like a disabled blimp. It looked, like, and slowly, like as we were going home, I just watched it slowly sink to the ground, and then it went. I didn't see the finale. Saying I saw a crash might be a little bit of hyperbole because I just saw it go below the tree line.
Yeah,
And then the next couple of days,
they probably were faking it.
That right. That was Val's blimp.
You saw it disappear beneath the tree line, and then there was a huge explosion. And
Right. And I was like, well, everybody aboard must have been killed.
Were you like
Did you read
shrieking?
anything? Did you read anything? Did you like look it up afterwards to see what happened?
Yeah, I looked in the paper. This is I guess pre-internet for the most part days, and I did look in the paper a couple days later, and there was something about it, and it didn't seem like anybody was
Cover
hurt
up.
because it was going slow enough that.
Now,
I wonder if I
hold
could
on
go
a
back
second.
and find this information.
Yeah, wait a minute.
Well, here's what I would question. So where was this? What town was this in?
I was on my way home. It was on Long Island, so it was probably I'll say Hicksville, Muttontown, perhaps.
All right. Now
Jericho.
And what year was it? What year would this have been?
Let's see. It was my mom was driving, so I was probably living at home. So probably late 80s to early 90s.
Okay.
Late
this
80s.
Is so it's pre-internet, but still, I think an era in which if a blimp crashes, the news manages to cover it the next day, not a couple days later.
Right.
You say you looked at the newspaper a couple days later, they're still talking about this blimp crash. I bet all the main coverage probably came out maybe a day later.
Oh, wait. I did blimp crash Long Island, and one of the first things is, do you remember the Gulf blimp crash that happened in South Farmingdale, September 1994? So South
94.
Farmingdale is not too far from the...
Oh, here it is. Here it is.
Yeah.
Okay, it's on Wikipedia. It was, September 11th, 1994.
What?
What?
Yep.
9/11/94.
Yeah, and this
94.
was there was internet at this point. They could have been talking about this
So
in
maybe
the
I did
in
look
the
it up on the internet.
An
in
airship-
the Usenet
An
groups.
Airship International blimp
Airship.misc.
bearing the Gulf Oil logo crash landed on a house in Farmingdale, Long Island, having lost gas pressure. It was on its way to cover the U.S. Open.
Yes.
There were
Patrick,
no-
Remember that
Patrick,
now.
Patrick,
There were no
Open.
injuries, but power was lost in the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
Patrick.
Yes.
Tell me
George.
it wasn't Doctor House.
I don't think it was Dr. House. I also want to say, I did just say yes, George, because we do the George Lucas talk show so much. And when I'm normally in a situation like this, I have to respond like I'm talking to George.
We get
Sure.
it.
All right, so no one was hurt. No one was hurt.
No
Looks
one was
like
hurt.
no one was hurt. That's
They
good.
lost
So we can
power.
celebrate this. This is one of the great 9/11s of all time.
Yeah, as far as my 9/11s go, this one's up there.
This is how you do it.
Because I got
This
to see
is how
something
you do
cool. Nobody was hurt. Power was, knocked out
Are there
for a
any
little
photos?
bit. But
Are
not
there any
in mine.
photos of it?
Give me a couple
Yeah,
minutes. I'll find it.
when I googled it, somebody posted a thing about it on Facebook, and there was
I wanna
there
look
was
it up.
a picture
There should be video of it.
the blimp kind of assuming it's crashed into a house here.
It's
Yeah.
going. It was going so slow. They probably could have had someone draw it while it was crashing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, I found a New York Times article.
Oh, there you go.
How many
Sorry.
days? How many days after the event?
This is September 12th, 1994.
Yeah, I was right. I was right. One day.
200-foot long blimp. Took down several power lines, deflated, carried 2 pilots and a photographer, took off at 10:30 a.m., soon started to lose pressure. The captain's name was Peter Buckley.
Oh, Peter.
From one Peter to another. Look at
Another
that.
Peter B. Another Peter B.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
This definitely conspiracy theories abound here.
Yeah, they tried to turn around. They couldn't make it. They found the only open area they could find, which unfortunately was on a house.
Mhm.
This looks open.
Oh, here we go. They have a quote from, here it is. The 62-foot tall airship landed nose first against the red shingle L-shaped ranch house of Raymond Domenico, director of New York City's Public Education Association. He says,
Domenico.
I was sleeping downstairs in the den and I heard some noise. Then there was a huge rush of air like a gale force. I felt the air rushing through the house. I thought it was a hurricane or a tornado.
Oh God.
Can you imagine?
This guy never suspected it was a blimp.
Wait,
I mean,
Why would you?
statistically, that has got to be a
here's
marvel.
here's a quote from the chief of police who was on the scene. When some of the guys came out from there, they were talking with some high-pitched voices. The chief said, referring to the tightening helium gas, which is non-flammable, has on vocal cords.
Wow.
Wild.
I thought it was a hurricane.
I would love to see the like eyewitness news. Like, and so what did you see at the time? Well, the blimp was going down for a long time. Like.
Uh-huh. Oh boy.
What a great
Well-
moment. So you got to see
Wow.
it from different angles.
Adding to the there's a picture here. I just threw it into the chat, but there's a photo here, and there's a fire engine in the foreground of the photo, and it says Rebel engine. So to add to the conspiracy theory, 94, 9/11, Rebel engine, Peter B. is the captain.
Pete, have you ever thought about contacting an organization? Because I'm sure they'd love to hear your firsthand account of what what happened on that day. You know,
call the Times, see if they'll add an addendum to this story.
Maybe I will make it. Oh, look, here's the cover of Newsday from that next day. It says downtime.
You should encourage them to do a follow up. Like, where is everyone now? Like, what happened to Peter Buckley?
Well. So 2 years from now, it will be the anniversary.
Well, we'll have to go out to
we have for the 30th anniversary.
Farmingdale and celebrate it.
The forgotten victims of 9/11.
No victims, just temporarily embarrassed by these humiliating high-pitched voices.
I do want to say I did find Raymond Domenico. He does still live in the area. He is on LinkedIn.
Wow.
All right.
Is it like Blimp Captain? Is that his top title?
No, that was the homeowner, wasn't it?
It was the homeowner, not the right. Peter B was the Blimp Captain.
He works in education.
All right. Well, let's not dox this guy.
I'm not doxing this guy.
No.
He seems like a good guy. I'm not going to dox him.
All he did was have a blimp crash into his house.
If he was a bad guy, I'd dox him. But this guy seems like a good guy.
All right.
Yeah.
So I have a question about Star Wars here. For a second.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So the Convex
I feel a lot better about life right now. Let me just tell you that we got to the bottom of that. That it took
that must be very satisfying.
But
yeah,
thanks everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the train, the Convex train. I was under the impression that this whole thing was loaded with the Coaxium, but that's not the case, correct?
Oh,
well then, I mean, they're not trying to steal the whole train, right?
Well, I know I feel like they can only get one car's worth or something.
Yeah, but bank robbers will frequently not take all the money in the bank. They'll take whatever they can carry out in the whatever bags or whatever they're using, right?
Well, my question is then, why doesn't the rest of the train blow up when it goes off the bridge? Shouldn't there be a huge explosion when all this Coaxium smashes into the ground?
Maybe it's so far down that we don't see it.
It's a bottomless pit.
It's a good place
maybe
to build
the rest
a
of the
bridge.
train. Maybe the rest of the train had different things. Like
that's what I was wondering. If only one of them had Coaxium.
Fruits and vegetables. They could have had unobtainium.
Right.
Yeah, it was probably like slaves on there or something.
Right. One of the cars definitely had like a lion and a cage full of snakes and I'm trying to think of the other things that were in that.
Yeah. Another guy with a hat.
Another guy with a hat, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something that belongs in a museum.
Right.
And so on.
You talking about the train falling off the thing made me. I just reached over and grabbed. Because it's now available on digital and Blu-ray. I have the 3D Blu-ray of Solo, so I should watch the train scene to see if it looks exciting. I don't know if I've ever watched the 3D. I know I bought this. I don't know if I've ever watched the 3D version of it.
Do you have a 3D TV?
I did. I don't right now.
Yeah.
But
well, then you're gonna have trouble watching it.
But I could, you know what? Through like complicated means, I could probably put it on the Oculus and just be soaking it all in.
Is the package for that kind of like bubblegum colored?
It's got like a maroon border around it, and then it's a slipcase.
Oh, that's also. But you've also that's not a region 1 though. That's a region 2 guy.
That's the 3D ones are mostly the kind of European releases or what have you.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure why, but
because the number 3 is the reverse letter E.
There you go.
That's why.
Right. 3 UROPE.
So it's appealing to them. If you live in Europe, you see the number 3, you're probably like, that looks nice.
Yeah. You're like, that's for me. That's the one I want.
Yeah,
I like the ring.
I don't know what about it. It's like when you're looking at a mirror reflection of the first letter in Europe. You're probably like, oh, it looks pretty good. I'll buy that 3D. Yeah.
Who's in it? Oh, the
Alex, what were you saying? I feel like we've cut off Alex twice. I want to hear what Alex says.
It's I just like the the ring theory of Pete watching a 3D movie to watch a train. It's almost like a callback to those idiots back in the 1900s who were like, look out, a train is coming.
Well, I'm going to put it on the Oculus and I'm going to be like, because Convex is going to be coming right at me. I just got so excited I knocked over my microphone.
Do we think that really happened?
Yeah.
Those idiots in that movie theater?
Yeah.
I've heard it
I really like the idea. I really like the idea of someone in the 21st century just chasing that thrill. Like, I want to feel what they felt back then.
I've heard it described more accurately as almost like the way people will like it's more like the jump of like a haunted house kind of thing, where it's not like people were running out terrified. It was like when it hit, they all just started and then all laughed because they all had experienced that sense of embarrassment that this thing was going to. So it was more like that, I think.
Like
then
a jump scare.
I sort of everyone maybe appreciating this has never happened before in the history of humans, that a train has been coming at someone and not had to jump out of the way from it. So.
Do you think people who saw it on opening weekend told their friends, like, go see it, but we want to tell you it's not really coming towards you? We all thought it was coming towards us.
I don't think they would want to spoil it.
They'd be like, hey, man, have you seen Arrival at the train at the station? Yeah. Oh, you got it. I'm not going to tell you what happens, but...
I like to imagine that what happened looked more like the end of Inglourious Basterds when they're trying to get out of the theater.
And everyone's clawing at the doors.
All the Nazis are just like clawing at the door trying to get out.
It was only shown one time because crowds were sent into such panics that it fatalities every time it was shown. It was, even today, you can't show it in a theater because panic will result.
Yeah, it's like shouting fire.
If I ran a movie theater and I screened that movie, I would put up one of those signs in the box office saying, like, just be warned, in train arriving into the station, there's not a real train. It's just they filmed a train. It looks like it's coming towards you, but it will not actually drive into the theater.
Right.
Or maybe it was the opposite. Maybe it was like the kind of thing where they're like, we have doctors on staff in case anyone has a heart attack when they see this terrifying movie about a train, that kind of a...
Like the Hitchcock, like nobody will be admitted after once the train leaves the station.
You'll have to wait the 3 minutes to catch the next showing if you want. So
I just looked it up. It's 50 seconds.
Is that the original version, or is this the expanded? So this is where we see Han Solo. So now we have the situation where the train is being held by both the swoop bikes and by the Han Solo in the hauler. And Han is getting panicky and was like, we gotta, like, we're gonna crash. I'm gonna cut the cables, and that way we don't smash. And so this is sort of setting the precedent for what we know Han Solo gets in trouble for later, which is dumping spice when he's in a business situation. So
spice dumper.
So this is where he got the idea to do that,
right?
In a future thing.
I also think that'd be a great T-shirt. Han Solo Spice Dumper.
Spice Dumper. No, wait, is this like an arcade marquee kind of a thing? Spice Dumper?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Like Space Invaders.
Absolutely.
With the Space Dumper.
Right. The goal of the game is to dump as much spice as possible and get away.
Right.
Don't get caught with spice.
No.
Dump that spice.
It looks like Space Invaders. Like, it's like a little Millennium Falcon, but then you see the little spice hanging by a thread at the bottom,
right. Like, instead of shooting it up, you're shooting it down. You're dropping it all and dumping it. Right.
That would have been great if in The Force Awakens, when they meet Han Solo and they're like, the smuggler, the general, and they're like, the inspiration for the Spice Dumpers video game, and he's like, I had nothing to do with that game. He's all mad that's what he's now remembered for. Is he's the Bill Buckner of that's a sports reference for you guys.
Spice reference.
Spice.
It's true. All of
Spaceball. So yeah. Although I will say, one thing I do like about this is that this is the first time we see Alden Ehrenreich not acting like Han Solo of the later of the Harrison Ford era, because that Han Solo is always like, I can get out of this situation. Obviously we didn't see him dump the spice, but this is a time where we never see Han panic like this in the original trilogy. Like him being genuinely like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? He's always kind of cool about it. So, I like that.
I was gonna ask, do you like Alden more when he is more like Harrison or when he's less like Harrison?
No, one of my things I don't like about the movie is that it's showing us a young Han Solo, but for the most part, he acts exactly the same as Harrison Ford. And I wish there was more. And it also would make the scenes where he's kind of being mentored by Beckett a little bit more meaningful, because we'd see him changing, going from like maybe a scared kid to being at least being able to fake confidence or something like that.
Sure.
But
Man,
from the first time we see him, he's trying to bluster his way out of a situation.
Yeah.
So.
Man, you must have hated the Muppet Babies.
I never
They
watched
all,
single one of them.
they all act like the same way the Muppets act when they grow up.
But that's the thing. If it was, I would have no objection. I don't want to see Han Solo. I would totally be fine if I wanted this to be Cannonball Run. I wanted to just see this to be a fun Han Solo just doing stuff. I didn't want to see anything about him growing or having a journey or anything like that. I just wanted space adventures. I don't want to see, how he got this and this. Oh, everything's so meaningful. Sure. How we got this, the comedian, how we got this. Anyway. That being said, anything else for minute number 39? Any more blimp stories we'd like to? I feel like that took up most of the episode, the blimp content. But
well, because it was slowly, it was like all day. That was like,
and it's like a real life. You had a real life Star Wars adventure. Like that's the closest thing. I've never had anything close to what happened in this minute of Star Wars, and you actually have. You saw a blimp fall out of the sky.
We never see blimps in Star Wars, do we?
I don't think so.
Oh.
I mean, listen, this was a big minute because you talked about seeing the blimp fall out of the sky, and I found the house that it fell on Google Maps.
Yeah.
So this is a huge day for both of us.
We definitely tied it into the real world in ways that I was never expecting. So
yeah.
I did want to shout out. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say I really like the explosion that happens at the very end of this minute that we're gonna talk about in the next minute. I think it looks rad.
It definitely starts here. It all starts here. In minute 39. I do want to shout out the Enfys Nest's line, "Release your cables or die," because that just sounds so like arch, like cartoon villain. But
it feels a little video gamey. I mean, this whole scene feels a little video gamey, but in a way that I don't hate. But that line specifically feels like a final boss line.
That seems like a line that it would be in a commercial trying to get you to watch Disney Plus and get rid of your cable, or be like.
It also feels like a line that if someone said George Lucas wrote that line, none of us would doubt it for a second.
No. Yeah,
we'd all be like, sure, makes sense.
Yeah,
sounds like him.
He wrote that. Release your cables or die.
I remember when I first got cable when I was a kid back in the 80s, Swamp Thing was a regular rotation back then. And the character's name is Cable, so they would use him going like Cable, like calling out for Cable in ads for Cable itself. So it's like the opposite of that, trying to tell you to get rid of Cable.
Anyway, release your cables, your coaxium cables.
Release your coaxium cables. Well, that wraps up minute 39. We have one more minute to go this week. Can you guys come back tomorrow? Please, we would really be left in the lurch if you guys really you can't.
No, I can come back. Yeah.
What time are we recording again? Because I have something at 8, but if I could do it after, I'm down.
8 BBY or ABY?
8
BB8.
8 ABBY. So you figure out what that means. I don't know what the conversion is between the two. Yeah.
I think we can figure it out.
That sounds like a definite yes to me. So these guys will be back tomorrow. And in the meantime, hey, if you're on the Reddit, why not check out the Star Wars Minute Reddit group? I've started using Reddit more frequently, and I post stuff there. So it'd be fun to have some more people show up. Go search Star Wars Minute in Reddit, and you'll find it there.
It's /r/Star Wars Minute or something like that. Whatever. I forgot the notation. It's up on the screen right now. People can read it if they're watching the YouTube. But whatever it is, Star Wars Minute.
Star Wars Minute.